All right, we are live from the Empowered Mom Studios, and the word today is abundance. So I'm going to tell you what that means to me in a second, but first I'm going to share a story with you, something that I'm not asking for accolades or anything like that. It's just to show you just how much even just one small thing can mean to someone. Okay? So about a month ago, I decided that I wanted to go down to the beach, as I always do, every single chance I get. In fact, I'm going again tomorrow and celebrating. But I really wanted to do this early because I knew that it was going to get super hot that day. I knew that there was likely that there was going to be a lot of people around, and I wanted to make sure I stake out the best spot. My favorite spot to sit on the beach is over by what I call the Mermaid Rocks, because it's less people, first of all, because not everybody is going to want to swim near the rocks. And another reason is because I get to pretend I'm like the Little Mermaid. And it's just such a beautiful spot. It's just out of the way. People take their dogs and they run around with the dogs. And it's just my favorite spot to sit. So typically what I do is I get up in the early morning and I hop on the bus, hop on the SkyTrain. I get down there before it even hits 8 a.m. and I stop off at the Starbucks and I get myself a blueberry muffin. Well, this particular day, I also had taken some cash with me. Normally, I don't take cash with me. Normally, I'm just using my credit card and then I pay off the balance when I get home or before I even go out. This is how I've been able to up level in my ability to have a higher credit score and boost my credit score right away, repair my credit, and continue to trim down my credit card balance that I had. It also allows me to feel like I don't have that scarcity of, oh my gosh, where's my money? Like I'm not going to be able to afford something. I don't have that anymore by doing this. But what I did that day, like there's just something about that day. There's just something about that day. I went onto the SkyTrain and I met someone who was like, you have a beautiful smile. And I'm like, thank you. So that in itself was abundance because someone was giving me a compliment. But eventually I get off of the SkyTrain after having this amazing conversation with this man who actually has the entrepreneur mindset. So he was actually going down to a flea market on the downtown east side of Vancouver. And he was going to be setting up shop because he didn't have a shop at the moment. He had one before, but it had closed down. They were relocating. And he had a whole bunch of collectibles inside of all of these like suitcases that he was carrying on the SkyTrain. So when he had said I had a nice smile and asked where I was going, I told him I was going to the beach. And he told me about how he was going down to the downtown east side and he was doing something, setting things up. I'm like, oh, well, what's inside of the containers? So it's inside the boxes and the suitcases. And then he told me they were collectibles, like Marvel, like Pokemon stuff, like basically collectible things. I'm like, you got Marvel stuff in there? That's so freaking cool. So he has like the whole comic book and collectors. And he said that one of the things he loves to do is when he sets up his tables or when he has a store, kids come in and they see all these Pokemon cards and they get all excited about these Pokemon cards. And he says, yeah, and sometimes I give about like $200 worth of Pokemon cards to these kids because I love to see how they light up. That in itself is abundance. And now I know that if I run into this guy, if I find his shop at some point and I take my kids in there, I know that he's going to remember me as the beautiful girl with the beautiful smile who was kind to him and talked about abundance and the entrepreneur mindset. He's going to remember that. And we're going to be able to basically help each other because now I know that there's somebody out there who is really good with kids. So you want to have those moments where you take your kids, if you take them into a collectible shop, you have that kind of person, not the comic book guy from The Simpsons who's like, thank you, and kicks them out and tells them that they're just like wasting his time. Like you want the one that's inviting these kids in, who's going to have those kids light up and get all excited. Now, This in itself was already a story of abundance, but that's not the story. So the actual story happened after I got off of the SkyTrain, and I got off at Burrard Station, and I was coming up, and I saw this really sad man, and he had his little pot where he was trying to get his money, and he had a sign, and he's like, "Excuse me, miss, I'm really, really sorry to ask this of you, but is there any chance you have any spare change? Because I'm $5 short to be able to get into this hostel, and I need to have a place to sleep and to eat, and I'm just so hungry and so tired, and like I just need $5. Like, do you have any spare change?" So this is what he was asking for. He's just asking for change just so he can get a place to sleep. I mean, right now times are so hard for a lot of people, and I could see that he had a kind heart, and I could see that he was down on his luck. And years ago, I was down on my luck too. There was a time when I couldn't even fathom like where I was going to live next. Like there were times where, like when my house burned down, I had no idea where I was going to live. If it wasn't for the kindness of my ex at the time, when we were going through a trial separation, for him to be like, "Well, where are you going to go?" And I said, "I honestly don't know. Like, you've got a bedroom in somebody else's house, and I have no idea where me and the kids are going to stay tonight. Maybe we'll have to go to like a shelter or something." He's like, "You're not going to a shelter." And he brought us home. So I know what it's like to have someone give you the kindness and out of the goodness of their heart, because you are down on your luck. And I mean, I had lost everything, and I couldn't even imagine. And one of my friends had actually been homeless at one point. So I have all this compassion for this poor man. And every time I see this, if I can give back, I'm always giving back. There was one time where I saw a homeless man who was looking for food, and people were giving him like fries and they were giving him like change. But I went and got myself a Subway sandwich because I was going down to the beach that day too. And I'm like, you know what? I can't eat a whole sandwich. So I took half of my sandwich. And then while I was also thinking this, as I was getting in the line for the sandwich, I'm like, I'm going to fill this with all really good things, nutritious things. I'm going to fill it with a little bit of Black Forest ham, so there's some protein. I'm going to fill it with some spinach and some cucumbers and some lettuce. And I made sure that the bread was whole grain. And I made sure that I also got 2 bottles of water. Why two? Because I wanted to give back again. So it's like I came down to this man who was still like, he was basically eating cold French fries. And I felt so bad for him because you know what? Cold French fries, it's not nutritious. But I brought him the sandwich and I said, "Look, this sandwich right here, this half of a sandwich, I'm giving you half my sandwich. And it has all these nutritious things in it for you. When you get on your feet again, pay it forward," is what I said to him. And I gave him the bottle of water too. So he had fresh water and he had a sandwich that had just been prepared, no cold French fries. And I told him, when you get on your feet, pay it forward. I'm always doing this. And so this man at the Burrard station, the same thing. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't have change. I don't carry cash on me. So I'm looking through all of my bags and I'm looking through my purse, I'm looking through my pockets, and he's like, "Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much for stopping. You have no idea how much this means to me." And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, it's like, I can't find anything. The only thing I have is a $20 bill that I was going to use to buy myself some fruit at the fruit stand down at the beach, because they have a fruit stand sometimes and they have fresh strawberries, and I love strawberries, and I was really looking forward to that. But at the same time, I'm like, I can get strawberries anytime I want. This man needs my help. He needs that help and support. And I don't know if anybody else is going to stop. And I have this 20. And what's $20 to me anymore? I mean, I am going to be getting so much back so soon. Like I can feel it coming. I have my book out, I have my courses, I have my coaching practice, and I continue to see where my abundance is coming from and the support of my friends. I have some high level friends now that are also showing me what I can do to create more wealth for myself. So I'm like, you know what? $20 is going to be so much more to him. This is about value, The value exchange is not, oh, this is $20, it doesn't buy anything. To somebody else, $20 means everything. And nothing can demonstrate this more than the look on his face when I pulled out that 20 and I said, here. And I just gave it to him. And he's like, oh, the look on his face, he's like, oh my gosh, no, ma'am, that's way too much. That you are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? And I'm like, you need this more than I do. And he's like, well, I mean, like, don't you need that money for something? I mean, obviously you were going to do something. I mean, that's a lot of money. I only need $5. Like, look, I don't have change on me. Like, I'm giving this to you. Like, you need this more than I do. And like, I want you to have it. And he's like, well, what were you going to use that money for? And I'm like, well, honestly, I was just going to go down to the fruit stand and I was just going to buy myself some fruit. But again, I'm okay. And he's like, well, no, here. And then he pulled out a 5 and he gave me his $5 bill and I gave him the 20. So I gave him $15 that day. And then he's just like, bless you. Thank you so much. I didn't get my strawberries because it turned out that they were $8 and I didn't know that. But I mean, I had change at home, so I could just go back the next day. And I knew I was going back the next day. And it's like, it doesn't matter because this man needed this money more than I did. I mean, now he's got a safe place to stay. He's got some food. And I said, when you get back on your feet, pay it forward. Note how I said when, not if, because that's the real motivation. I wanted him to see that this was a gift of abundance from the universe, that he would be able to get back on his feet. I wanted to give him hope. So I not only gave him $20, I gave him hope. I gave him a chance so that he can actually go out and pay it forward. It was the most beautiful moment for me. And it happened before 7 o'clock in the morning, which was even more beautiful for me. Like, I think it was like probably about 7:15 when this happened. So then the story continues, okay? Because yesterday I got that money back in the most unexpected way. Okay, so the way that the universe works is like what you put out comes back to you. And I've noticed this, that the more I give, the more I get in return. Now, I'm not giving just to get, but I'm noticing that this is happening. I'm getting more abundance by doing this. The more I put out there, the more I get. So I have managed to get things from the children's school where they have things in the programs where they're giving me gift cards. Sometimes it's a lot of money for groceries that's just given to me in abundance. There's free food, there's free clothes, there's free toys. Like, the kids are taken care of. I'm being taken care of. I'm getting things from my friends. I'm getting help. I'm getting support. I'm getting mentorship, all because when you give out, it comes back to you. So what you put out comes back stronger. If you're putting out negativity, you're going to get negativity back. If you're putting out positive energy and abundance and giving, guess what comes back? Okay, so here's what happened yesterday. All right, this is the most ironic thing. So I went down to the mall because I wanted to get a nail polish. My toenails had chipped and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go and get my pedicure for just one chipped toenail because my nails don't need to be filled yet. And like, I do that once a month, not twice a month. So I'm like, okay, I need to buy this nail polish. And I went and looked everywhere for it. I couldn't find it. I could not find it. I went to London Drugs, nothing. No sparkly red nail polish. I went to the Bay, no sparkly red nail polish. I went to Walmart, no sparkly red nail polish. I even went to my hair salon, no sparkly red nail polish. But here's the thing, as I had been walking out of Walmart and we were walking down through the mall, Hunter was with me that day with Michaela. It was just yesterday. And he's like, Mom, there's a 5. There's a 5. And I'm like, huh? So he brings me back. He's like, Mom, there's a 5 on the ground. I'm like, one of the rules of the universe and what I do now to attract more abundance and wealth to me is if I see money or if money is pointed out, no matter how small of an amount, I will pick it up. Why? Because then I know it's like I am a money magnet. I am taking that abundance. I am receiving. The more you are able to receive, the more you get. Now, this isn't just for money. This is also receiving help, receiving support, receiving the the collaboration, receiving opportunities, receiving more clients, receiving relationships, friendships, love, all of these things. The more open you are to receiving it, the more it comes to you in unexpected ways. So I'm thinking, oh, cool, $5 bill. No, when I picked up that $5 bill, do you know what was under it? A $10 bill. I got $15. And then it occurred to me, it's like, I gave out $15 to that homeless man a month ago, and now it's come back to me. So I went out and I went to my nail salon as the last resort because I know they sell polish there. And I'm like, you know what? Even if I have to buy the polish off of the owner so that I have my exact shade that I always choose, that he knows what my shade is. I mean, I have been going to this salon now since December. I used to go back to it when I was younger too, in my 20s, but I mean, it's with a new owner now. And so he greeted me. He's like, oh, are you here for your pedicure? I mean, it's a little early. And I'm like, no, no, no. I want to buy the nail polish that like you have. Like, I'd like to get that shade. So he went out of his way and found it for me. And he got me a brand new bottle. And I'm like, well, what do I owe you? And he's like, $3. And I'm like, okay. And I gave him 5, and he was about to give me change. I'm like, no, 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 keep the change. Why? Because again, those extra $2 are like paying it forward to the universe. He's going to be able to do something with that. It's like, that's a nice tip for him. That's maybe he can get himself something he can add to that and get himself a little bit of a discount on maybe a cup of coffee, or maybe he has something else that he wants to do. It doesn't matter. Money is energy. One of my friends and mentors actually taught me this 2.5 years ago. And he was talking about how he sometimes goes out and he's at Starbucks and he will buy a cup of coffee for somebody who's in line behind him. And I just thought that was a beautiful concept. I'm like, you know what? I can't wait until I'm at a place where I can do that too. I can't wait until I have the abundance to be able to do that. And I've been doing that. A couple of months back, these boys who are like about maybe in sixth and seventh grade, they didn't have any lunch. And they came up to me and they're like, do you have any change? And I'm like, I didn't have any change. But I went with them to Tim Hortons and I bought them each a bagel, and I bought them a bottle of water too, because they decided to lowball themselves and get themselves plain bagels. I'm like, okay, but I'm getting you some water too, because you can't just choke down a plain bagel without water. So again, when you have this abundance, when you recognize that you are going to be taken care of, the more you give out, the more you receive. When you have that mindset and you're no longer feeling like there's nothing for you, more stuff comes to you. Not only that, but we're all here to share light and to help each other. And you know what I've done for those boys? First of all, I told them to pay it forward. And I've told people that I've helped and given money to who are homeless, said, when you get on your feet, pay it forward. All of that will come back out. I also do this in my own business as well. So there's like a mom who, she would be not able to get my book right now because like by the time my book comes out, she's going to already have her baby. So it wouldn't make sense for her to go and buy my book, but she knows about it. And I told her, it's like, okay, you've already gone through my free birth plan training course. Like she said, I got it last night. I'm going through it. It's amazing. So she's talking about this in the mom group. And I'm like, hey, since you're technically already on my email list, I've got your email. Go check your inbox in the next hour. There's a surprise for you. I gave her my entire little course suite that I had created 2 years ago. It's about a $200 value, but like what it was a collection of all of my free workshops and challenges. I'm going to be creating a new program in the future. So it's like, it's nothing for me to give that, because also what does that do? It gets it in front of her. She gets to go through that. She gets to have that value. She gets to be able to have that chance for an empowered birth. She's always going to remember that. She's going to tell other people where to get my stuff and to pay it forward. So when you have that mindset of abundance instead of scarcity, when you recognize that by the more you give, the more you receive, that's when the magic really happens. I've had so many blessings in the last few days. It's just been amazing. After I got home, after getting my nail polish and having that extra $10 in my pocket that I'm going to probably give to somebody else who needs it, because this is what I do, or maybe I'll buy some strawberries and then that pays for the strawberries and also gives money to the business owners who happen to have that fruit stand. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, assuming the fruit stands up. Last time it wasn't. It made me sad. But by putting that out there, putting that energy out there, my ex was deciding he wanted to get a Slurpee last night and he wanted to get one for the kids. And he also asked me, he's like, do you want a Slurpee? So I got a free Slurpee. I mean, this is what happens is that the more light and happiness and energy and love you put out there, the more you are willing to share what you have, whether it's your knowledge or whether it's to get something for somebody and just do it just because you love them and support them. I mean, I got a free lunch from my dad today because he's awesome. I got to spend time with my dad. Like it's just that's what it is. It's this abundance. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. So what I want you to know is like, even though times are really hard right now, even though there's a lot of things that are really scary, you can also be a pillar of light. Whenever there's a crisis, look to the helpers. Whenever there is like a crisis of economics, you look to the people who are finding ways to provide value and help others. So when you come from that mindset, the whole world benefits and people are going to benefit from that. And the only thing I wish is that I had a car right now because I have a whole bunch of food in my back room, like more than what my kids and I could possibly eat this summer. And I want to be able to give that to families. I want to actually, like, if I had my ideal way, is like I would take all of that stuff that we're not going to eat and like go to some of the old complexes where like a lot of single moms are, like the affordable housing, and just like sneakily put those groceries out in bags with maybe a note that says pay it forward and like a little like gift basket so that they have food. And I mean, if there's anything they can't use, they can pay it forward to someone else. But doing that would feel really good to me. But of course, I don't have a car right now. It doesn't make sense for me to have one because I work from home and like everything's so close with transit. But that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I want you to start thinking about where you can create abundance for yourself and what you can do for others. And yeah, let's just have a really awesome summer and an awesome rest of our 2023 for our year and just spread that light. I love you. Talk to you soon.